What a nice spot to stop, hey? This is the Leschenault Estuary. Amazing spot here out at Turkey Point. Today we're here to do another Todd review video. This review video is going to be all about these bad boys. These are the Kaon rear shock guards for the 200 series. They do them for other cars as well. I've got a set of these. I've had them now for about 14 months and I thought it was about time I shared my view on them. So stay tuned for the full review of the Kaon rear shock guards for a 200 series Land Cruiser. So this has been used and abused for the last 12 months. I have been on there, I have not taken them off. They've been through all sorts of hell. I do use and abuse my car as much as people seem to think that's a bad idea. I use it for what it's built for. I do a lot of rock crawling, mud bogging. Sand driving. Pushing the car to its limit and sometimes a little bit beyond, but hey, that's what it's for, and that's what I love about this off-road lifestyle. So these have been used and abused, and as such I feel I can now give a little bit of feedback because they have been excellent. I'm really happy with them. Kaon sell these for $210, I think they are, plus postage. You can also get them in like powder coated in black as well for $240, so 30 bucks extra to get them painted. I chose to get them in just normal stainless steel, 3mm, plenty big enough. They're about a bit over a kilo each, so 2.5 kilos for the two of them. There's 3 bolts, 2 of them are a 15mm and one of them is a 13mm. And they pick up using factory holes in the diff mount for the shock. You will have little nut blocks that go behind it. One of them needs a little stick on it like this for you to attach it. I did a full install video. You can see that up there somewhere. And that will take you and show you how to install these and what they look like installed and that sort of thing. And my thoughts on how they're installed as well. But I wanted to go through a full review of how they have stood up to the test of time and to me abusing them as well. Just had someone do a drive-by. Always something awkward about doing these videos in public is having people drive past while you're trying to record yourself. Looking a little bit funny, but hey, we grin and bear it, and well, you guys are here too, so you better feel embarrassed as well. So these shock guards, some pros about them. Obviously they protect the lower part of the rear shock absorber. That part is particularly susceptible because it's very low lying and under the car. You've got obviously the rubber bush and the bolts and everything that hold the shock on, which are going to be constantly peppered by rocks and sticks, salt, sand, everything that's going to flick up under the car is going to pepper that mounting and those mounting bushes there. So having something to protect them is really good. I've got BP51 shock absorbers on the rear of my 200 series, well, front and rear, and they come with a factory stone guard on them. They're plastic and they use a clip to hold everything onto the base of the shock, which isn't too bad, but they are known to unclip themselves and just sit there and rattle. And while they're an easy fix, and it's $5 for a new set of clips, they're much sturdier. So I've decided to, bloody crow, I've decided to remove the Old Man Emu guards and use these instead because I think they're much better, and there's no point in having 2 sets of guards when one's doing more work than the other. They're a one-piece design, so it's one piece of 3mm steel that's just been folded and obviously laser cut and all the rest of it. So it's really simple to install and to use. You don't have to worry about side brackets and extra bits and pieces bolting on. It's just one solid unit, which I really like. The 3mm steel does give a lot of rigidity and a lot of strength to this item. And I'll do some close-up shots now, but you can see on the front here it's absolutely peppered with gravel, with little holes and stuff in it from gravel and sticks and stones that prop up and hit it. And on the back as well, there's a big scuff where a stick ended up getting caught in there and sat there until I actually found it and removed it. So that was something to be concerned about. They're super easy to install as well. I did an install video, which I've already put up, but it's up there again, of how easy they are to install. It's 3 bolts. You don't even have to lift the car. It's easier if you get the wheels off, but you don't have to. And something that anyone with even no mechanical knowledge, you can put these on your car and protect them for when you're going off-roading or touring around Australia or the world, wherever you're going. Now, one other pro that I thought I'd mention in this video is that they allow room for these to bend. So if you manage to, I don't know, say blow a tire off road, or you suddenly hit an obstacle that you just weren't ready for. And these have to take the weight of whatever that obstacle it is. You've got 3.5, 4 ton of car knocking against, say, a rock or something like that. Something's going to give, and it's probably going to be these steel plates. But there is enough room for these to actually bend and deflect without them touching on the shock, which is really nice. So these ones here I have actually had a big hit with. This little gap in here, you can see it's sort of like pushed in. That still doesn't touch the shock. There's still about 15 mil of room for that guard to deflect, bend in, and if it needs to, without it actually damaging the shock. So I'm really, really happy with that. Other guards you see sit really close to whatever there is they're trying to protect, but as soon as they take a knock, they end up damaging what they're trying to protect. So really, really happy with that feature on them as well. Now, some cons about these. Obviously we can't talk about all the great stuff about them without talking about some of the downsides to this product. And I'll tell you there's not much, but I do have to mention a few things in this video. Due to the shape of these, they can trap debris, rocks, stones, sticks, anything like that, inside between the guard and the shock, and it can sit there and rub. There are lots of drain holes, so when these are mounted, they actually have a lot of drainage on the bottom for anything loose. So if you get any sand or water or mud or anything, it tends to drain out, but it does have the capacity to hold larger objects inside these. So that is a con. There's not a huge amount you can really do about it because of it's trying to protect, so you don't want to remove too much material to allow that to move, but you do have to sort of check it periodically, especially after you do a lot of big trips, to make sure there's nothing stuck in there, which is easy enough to do just by crawling under the car. The next thing is it does reduce your ground clearance, not by a lot, only by a real 15 mil, the width of my thumb basically. It reduces the ground clearance of the car, so these are more likely to touch the ground before the rear diff does. That being said, if you're sliding over a rock, I would much prefer these to take the hit and slide because it's a nice big flat surface underneath, rather than the bottom of the shock mount, which tends to have a lot of spots where you can get caught up on, and obviously it's going to damage it. And the only real way to repair that damage is either weld the rear diff or replace the rear diff, both of which are going to be quite expensive. So these are still worth having, but it's worth mentioning that if you're going to be doing lots of off-roading, rock crawling, that sort of stuff, do just keep in mind that you are going to lose a little bit of undershock clearance due to this product. And another thing I'll mention, if you're going to tend to do lots of hard four-wheel drive tracks, is these do have the ability to bend. This one has already been bent. The other side hasn't got any damage, but this side copped a bit of a whack from a rock while I was out Brunswick way, I think it was, and it did bend in. Obviously I'd rather this take the hit than anything else, but they aren't going to take the weight of the car on top of them if that's what you're looking for. So I think these are perfect for someone who's intending to do a lot of touring, overlanding, traveling, going around Australia, doing a few sort of dirt roads and tracks and that sort of stuff to protect their shocks. But if you're planning on doing lots of harder tracks, keep in mind you may want to replace these every, I don't know, let's say every 5 years, because they will, or even sooner, depending on how many hard tracks you do, because they will eventually bend and buckle in, and you may want to replace them to continue protecting those shocks. So all in all, I really, really like this product. I'm really happy with these shock guards. Everything Kaon do tends to just be amazing. And the great thing is they're a great Australian company, and they do listen to feedback from people like myself and from you as well, who want to give some reviews or some advice or some feedback on their products. They do listen to it, and they take that into account when they're developing new stuff. So hopefully Kaon's watching this one. Hey Kaon. And they see that I am really happy with these. There's a few things that I would mention to a buyer if this is not going to suit you or not going to suit your particular purpose, and also some things which may need to be improved. Look, honestly, they're really, really good, and there's just a few situations where they don't quite cut the mustard, but for 99, probably, look, I'd say 95% of people who own a 200 series, these are going to work absolutely fine. I'm super happy with these. I would give them a massive score of 4.5 out of 5 because they're great. And really, there's a few little niggly things that are like could be ironed out, but it's very hard to make a perfect product, but this is very, very close. So 4.5 out of 5 for these Kaon rear shock guards on the 200 series, and super, super happy with them. I'm gonna go and fit them back up and get ready for winter, where we're gonna do some more rock crawling and stuff out in the bush. You guys are gonna come too on those sorts of trips, so stay tuned for that. So thank you very much for watching. If you wanna see more content like this, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below if you wanna see me push these things to the absolute limit and see how much weight they can take on them and how much abuse. And we will catch you next time on Off-Road Crusader. Cheers.